Hi folks, and thanks for logging into this SAT webinar hosted by the Princeton Review. My name is Alan Polito, and I'm the Executive Director of the Princeton Review in the Greater Orange County area. As you can see, my contact information is listed on this slide, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions after watching this webinar. Let's get started. This is the agenda for today. I'm going to discuss your mock SAT practice test results, and then I'll discuss the importance of the SAT, and finally next steps and how the Princeton Review can help you. This is what your Princeton Review mock SAT score report should look like. I'd like to point out that this is not supposed to be a copy of the College Board official SAT score report, as this is our own version of an SAT score report. Let's focus our attention on the top line, and in fact let's show you a zoomed in version. As you can see, there are two major sections on the SAT, which we call verbal and math. CollegeBoard refers to the verbal section in a much longer way. They call it evidence-based reading and writing, but we prefer to just say verbal because it's just shorter. Each of these two sections is scored from a minimum of 200 points to a maximum of 800 points, and then you add them together to get the total score. Hence, the highest possible total is 1,600 points, and that's easy calculated when you consider that it's 800 verbal plus 800 math. For this example, this student achieved an 1,170 total score, and that's calculated by adding 620 verbal to 550 math. One of the most common questions we receive when students see their practice test scores is what makes a good score, what makes a bad score? We'll try to answer that. First of all, remember that the SAT did change as recently as March 2016. Hence, the official test writers themselves are still working through all the numbers and statistics. They've released certain percentiles every time they've administered the new version of the SAT, but we also know that they're continuing to work on those numbers and improving and updating them as more information flows in. We do not give you percentiles on our practice tests because you need a significant number of students involved in order to give accurate percentiles. What we can tell you is that the last time the SAT was scored on a total grid of 1,600 points is that the average sectional score was around 500 points. Hence, the average total score was around 1,000 points as well. While we are not prepared to tell you that those numbers are going to remain consistent for the new version of the SAT, it's at least a jump-off point for you. Now focus your attention on the middle part of the score report. You'll notice that there are more test scores and numbers listed here. The first thing we want to point out is that none of these scores are as important as your verbal and math scores on the previous slide. In fact, these scores we're showing you right now do not even show up on your college application when you fill out the information. The reason that CollegeBoard has included all of these different scores is to track your strengths and weaknesses at a bunch of different subsections and areas that certain educators might be interested in looking at. Frankly, we understand that these, again, will not make it onto your official college application. Hence, what you should really be paying attention to are your verbal and math scores, and obviously the total that they create. On the top left-hand side is the phrase test scores with a minimum of 10 points to a maximum of 40 points. Beneath that headline are the words math, reading, and writing and language, shortened as W and L. We believe this has been grandfathered in by the test writers because the previous version of the SAT, of course, had three sections called math, reading, and writing. As the test exists today, it's now down to two sections of math and reading/writing. The next area is called subscores with a minimum of 1 point to a maximum of 15 points. Beneath the title subscores, you'll notice different areas such as command of evidence, words in context, expression of ideas, so on and so forth. These subscores represent the different question types that you encounter throughout the exam, and it strives to tell you how you performed on each of those areas. For example, Heart of Algebra tells you how you performed when answering questions related to the topic of algebra sprinkled all throughout the math sections. On the top right-hand side, you see cross test scores, again from a minimum of 10 points to a maximum of 40 points. And beneath that headline is the phrase analysis in history/social studies and analysis in science. What this part of the test is telling you is that there are some questions on the exam that dabble in history or social studies or science, and this report now tells you how you performed in those areas. Because the SAT does not have a formal section called history or social studies or science, this is the area in which they attempt to show you. On the bottom part of the score report is the response legend. This is extremely helpful, especially for those students who plan to review their results. A check mark or a green color means you got it right. If you receive the score report in color, it's helpful to see the green versus the red. If not, we still gave you a symbol using a check mark to determine how you performed. If there is no symbol in the middle part of the box, that means you left it blank. And if you see a letter of any kind in the middle part of the box or a red color, that means you got it wrong. Now, it's time for a helpful testing tip. Since the SAT changed in March 2016, it no longer penalizes you if you put down the wrong response. Hence, if you don't know what to do on an SAT problem in the future, it is better for you to venture a guess as opposed to leaving it blank. In other words, never leave an SAT problem blank in the future. If you get it wrong, it does no damage to your test score. Use this legend and the sectional breakdown accompanying your score report to review your test. After your practice exam, you should have kept your test booklet, and now you can use this legend, the sectional breakdown, and of course a test booklet to review all of your mistakes or any problems you might have left blank. Once again, in the future, never leave an SAT problem blank. You should just guess if you don't know what to do. Now let's discuss the importance of the SAT. First of all, many competitive colleges still require the SAT or its competitor, the ACT. If you live in California and plan to apply to a UC or University of California school, then you should know that the SAT is still a required exam of that schooling system, or the ACT. Hence, if you're applying to a school that actually requires standardized tests, well, there's no negotiating around it. You still have to do it, and that makes it very important. Some colleges and scholarships use your SAT scores to determine merit-based aid. In other words, the higher you score on the SAT, the better your eligibility to score free money, money you never have to pay back, towards your college tuition. It's also one of the last factors you can control and improve after your GPA has been locked in. Most people should know that once your high school junior year is over, your academic portion is really pretty much locked in. Yes, they will still review your senior year progress, especially with your mid-year transcript, but your actual GPA that you fill out on your application in October of your senior year is going to encompass all the way up until your junior year. Hence, once your GPA has been locked in after junior year is over, the SAT score is one of the last factors you still have any control over. While academics are still more important, a higher SAT score can help offset hiccups in your grades. So let's be very clear. In college admissions, your academics, meaning the classes you've taken and the grades you've earned, are still the most important things you can turn into the college. However, if you have any hiccups in your high school transcript or your GPA, obtaining a higher SAT score can help offset some of those things. It's not meant to substitute for poor academic performance, but if you got stumbling blocks here or there, a higher SAT score can help your case. What about the next steps for you, and how can the Princeton Review help? This is a good reminder that you should take your official SAT during your junior year. When you take it during your junior year is simply a personal decision. There are two schools of thought. Some people will take it early in the fall, and some people will wait until the spring. Really, the best barometer for that is how prepared you feel before you take the real thing, juxtaposed with your own calendar. For example, football players who have very busy falls might find it difficult to take the official exam in the fall of junior year, whereas baseball players might find it difficult to take the test in the spring because that's when their season is taking place. If you can help it, you should study for your official exams in the summertime, preferably the summer before junior year, because that's when you'll avoid the natural conflict with schoolwork and more extracurricular activities. The Princeton Review can help in a variety of ways. First of all, we can improve your SAT or ACT scores. We have books, online courses, private tutoring, and group sessions that can help you improve your official scores. We can also help you improve your high school GPA through our partnership with Tutor.com. We can help you improve your grades and to study for virtually any subject from the comfort of your own home 24 hours a day. And finally, with our counseling arm, we can help you find and apply into your best fit colleges. And if you'd like more information about any of these offerings, feel free to contact us through a variety of ways. I hope this webinar has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.